May 13th, 2008 was just another day in the UK. For most people, it would be another boring shift for the police, the fire brigade, and the ambulance crews. Little did they know that today would be the day they'd have to deal with something that science could unexplain. Something that still puzzles scientists, doctors, cops, and everyone else who hears the full story. Because if they did, they might be able to explain how two women who should have been dead managed to stab a man to death and jump from a 40-foot bridge and survive. And why what you're about to hear next has been described as the most terrifying thing that they've ever seen. Let me explain. On that seemingly ordinary day, just before 9 p.m., police officers received a call. The caller told them that two women were walking calmly along the busy M6 motorway. But as if they were sleepwalking, the women seemed unaware of the danger that they were in. That's because they were standing right next to the fast lane, with cars whizzing past at 70 miles per hour. A few minutes later, the officers watching the live CCTV feed saw the two women step into the busy road. Their pace quickened, and within seconds, both women had run straight into the path of oncoming traffic. Moments later, one of the women was mowed down by a truck. The other twin had also been hit by a car, but somehow both were still alive. The officers watched, stunned, as the woman who had been hit by the truck was dragged under the wheels. One officer could barely believe his eyes. He said it looked like someone had put her legs into a mincer. It was then that he noticed something extraordinary. Despite having been hit by a truck, the woman somehow managed to get back onto her feet and stumbled away from the scene. It was then that the officers realized that the second twin had also got up. And what happened next would defy belief. The twin who had been hit by the car kicked off her shoe, revealing a severed artery. Yet miraculously, she too got up and ran after her sister. What the officers witnessed next was nothing short of superhuman. The twin with the crushed legs hobbled after her sister while dragging herself along the floor. How she managed to do this with such severe injuries is a mystery. When the paramedics arrived, they discovered that the twin who had been hit by the car was screaming at the top of her lungs. And when they tried to restrain her, she lashed out and punched one of the paramedics in the face. Another officer asked the twin what her name was and why she was behaving this way. But she didn't answer. Instead, she shouted, "They're going to steal my organs." "I know who you are," before turning her attention to another officer and saying, "You're next, you bastard. I know you." She also kept asking, "Where's my sister?" But when paramedics told her that her sister had been taken to the hospital, she replied, "No, they've taken my sister away from me." But when doctors examined the twin, they found no trace of drugs or alcohol in her system. And the twin wasn't violent or aggressive towards the doctors or nurses who treated her. She was calm and polite until hours later, when she suddenly jumped off her hospital bed, sending an alarm blaring. This time, she tried to take her own life, and when the staff restrained her, she began thrashing around the room. At one point, the twins stopped struggling and stared straight ahead. She then began speaking in a language that the staff didn't understand and continued staring straight ahead as if she was looking through them. The twins stayed in hospital for 10 days. During that time, she attempted to take her own life several times and needed to be physically restrained on several occasions. When the police eventually questioned the twin, she was calm and polite, but claimed that she and her sister had been chased onto the motorway by unknown assailants. The twin then explained that she was now being hunted, and that she knew the police were part of the conspiracy against her and her sister. The police later identified the twins as Swedish citizens named Ursula and Sabina Eriksson. The twins had come to the UK to visit their father, who was terminally ill. At the time, the police believed that Sabina was responsible for killing the man who had given them a lift after the accident. But they didn't have enough evidence to charge her. What happened next shocked everyone involved in the case. Sabina was charged with manslaughter, but she didn't stand trial until nearly 2 years later. When she finally appeared in court, she pleaded not guilty. However, in December 2010, Sabina Eriksson was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 8 years in prison. But she was released in 2015 after serving 5 years. To this day, no one knows why the twins ran onto the busy motorway. Even more bizarre is the fact that the twins seemed to predict the accident. Days before it happened, they posted a video online showing two women holding hands and jumping over a railing. And when police searched their hotel room after the incident, they found a chilling note left by the twins. It read, "Help me. I am being chased. We are being hunted." But what is the meaning of these words? Was it a prophetic message? Did they know something was going to happen to them? Or was it a cry for help from two vulnerable young women? Sabina and Ursula never revealed the truth behind the notes, but perhaps it was a desperate attempt to explain the unexplainable. In the end, the case remains open, and the truth may never be known.